Well, hello, my friends. I'm very excited today because from the last video that I recorded, I have got the most views of all my videos, all my 21 or 22 videos. Now, uh, for some people or for most people, my channel so far, and my videos so far, has been have been failures because of the fact that I only have a few views compared to most people. I have about 130 views. That's combined all 21 videos in my channel, and most people we get that in less than a second. I was watching a video yesterday, and on this video, wow, look at all those animals and all the noise. But on that video, basically, what I saw is that. As I was watching the videos, I could see the views going, and he got like in less than an hour over 15,000 views. I could never even dream on that. But for me, the channel is a success because of the fact that it's forcing me to get out of the house and to come to different places to try to show it to you. Now, I'm trying to figure out on this, and if I screw up, I'm sorry. I try to figure out how to flip the camera because I'm on Pro Video, and I don't know if it allow me to flip the camera. Let me see here. I don't think it does. So since I'm not sure, I don't want to mess it up. I'm here at this place, and this place basically, just to show you, is the Fort Caroline National Memorial, right there. Fort Caroline National Memorial, and this has to do with the indigenous Timacuan or Timacuanan indigenous people here in the Northeast Florida. So I'm going to cut it now, and I'm going to start when I start walking on the trail. I'm going to take you to the spot what is part of the monument and all that. And I'm going to talk about the topic for today because the topic for today is very important. The topic for today is, has the internet crushed our spirits to the point that it's going to jeopardize our future retirements? And more on that when I return. Please stand by. So here is the entrance. It's beautiful, it's right in the countryside. But like I said, the beautiful part about Northeast Florida is that you're on the countryside, but you could be in the countryside 10 minutes from the city. So this is considered actually city, but let me see how I'm gonna, that's for compact cars. I guess I'm gonna park on the, but anyway, let me park and then I continue with the video. And you can see that we are here, and this is, let me see if I can, Timacuan Visitor Center, okay? So we are here, and we're gonna take a walk through the trails, and basically talk about the topic for today, because the reason why I said that it looks like, the internet have crushed any type of, future for generations to come in retirement and for our own retirement, is because, and I discuss this with my kids, and they don't agree with me, but I still feel strongly about it, is that, wait a minute, is this closed? Let me see. Let's see what's going on here. Oh no, people are walking. People are walking. But anyway, I may keep going here.
Morning.
Morning, how you guys doing?
Very well, thank you.
All right. Beautiful day.
Very.
But anyway, what I was saying is, just to give you a quick summary of my life, It's natural trail. Let's go this way. So basically, when I came, I was born and raised in Puerto Rico in the 60s and 70s. And there was no internet. There was no cell phone, obviously. There was absolutely no technology. So we were only aware of our little town, and I grew up in the country. So we're just aware of the people that we know around it. And we do have vehicles. We had cars, but not everybody had a car. I mean, my brothers, when they became teenagers, they quit school to go to work so they can have their own cars and all that. I didn't have a car. I purchased my first car after I already been in the Navy for almost 2 years. So I was already 21 or 22 when I actually have my own very first car. I got my license at 16, and basically I didn't start driving until I was 21. So that gives you an idea. And all we have is just newspapers, and not everybody get the newspaper every day. And a television that in those days, when I grew up, we only have 3 channels. And in the area where I live, we only could get every section for 1 channel. So that's how limited we were when it comes to the news. So there's not many people that we compare ourselves with, except the people around us. I knew I didn't want to stay in that area because I see that there was no progress. So I always knew that I was going to go to college somehow, that I was going to somehow, probably make it to the United States. And I have big dreams because I watch movies, Rod Huxon movies and all that with all this executive, and I wanted to be an executive and blah, blah, blah. So because of that, I knew I was going to come to the States and better off. But I didn't have anybody to compete against when it comes to the, I got to turn around here because I don't know if you can go that way. But yeah, it looks like a trail, so let's keep going. But anyway, what I tried to say is that I didn't have nobody to compare myself in the internet. Nowadays, there's no innocence in our youth. The reason there's no innocence because at 6, 7, 8 years old, even earlier, you already can get in not only YouTube, but in Facebook, in Instagram, in TikTok. And now you have a window for the whole world. And everybody want to copy everybody. Everybody wants to behave as the other person. So now, for intents and purposes, everybody is like a Hollywood star. They all want to have their own 15 minutes of fame in Instagram or Facebook. And the damage that have caused to our youth is unbelievable. And to the point that's why I believe we got so many mental illness in this country. In fact, the youth, to a certain extent, carry the mental illness as a badge of honor. Like, if, let me continue once these ladies pass by. Morning, ladies.
Morning.
Beautiful day, huh?
Yes, it is.
All right.
She had stopped playing.
So anyway, as I was saying, so the youth wear mental illness as a badge of honor. Everybody, regardless if they've been in the service and in war or not, everybody suffers of PTSD. Everybody is emotional broken. And if you are not emotional broken, you are a weirdo. You're weird. You're not normal. Normal is being psychologically damaged. So it's like competing about who is more mentally ill than the other. And it's just, I cannot believe it. And that's and because of that, I mean, we got another thing going on because of, I believe the part of that situation is people don't want to work anymore. They cannot see, like, I could not, when I was a teenager, I could not wait to get in the workforce. And when the day I signed to get in the Navy, I knew back in that moment that I was going to do at least 20 years in the service. And when I finished the service and I got in the job that I have now, I knew, I made my mind from day one I was going to do at least 20 more years, and I already been in it 25. And right now I could retire any time, but I'm not going to retire in at least 18 months because I got a goal that I want to accomplish. But people nowadays, the only goal is to do nothing. You know, it's hard. I cannot believe I got to work to make a living. I cannot believe I got to work to make money. And I don't going to tolerate that. So therefore, I rather work, sleep and live in my car. You know, I'm parked in the middle of nowhere, and that's it. And I can understand, believe me, that some people have no other choice, especially older people that for some reason they didn't get it together when they were young, or they have some situation as an adult, some kind of illness, divorce, or things like that broke them down, and they, what they have in retirement, they're sick, they kind of work, and the little Social Security check that they have is not enough to maintain a household, and so they have, some of them, they have no choice. But it's an epidemic nowadays. You got kids in their teens, in their early 20s, living in cars because they have PTSD, or they are so broken down that they cannot see themselves. Got this nice little bench here, and they cannot see themselves, you know, going to work every day for 20 years or 30 years or 40 years. So it's unbelievable. Now, what that had to do with the title of this video? Well, it had to do a lot, because the problem is, as we all know, the Social Security funds are running out of money. And in order for that Social Security to be there in the future, not for us, because I believe people my age, we don't want to suffer of any cuts or anything like that, but for the future generation, how they're going to fund that fund for the Social Security if people don't want to work? I mean, you know, it's just unbelievable. So, you know, there's going to be no future for this country, or for the whole world for that matter. And what that was created because of the internet. That was created because of the TikTok, the Instagram, the Facebook, when people start comparing to each other, and people start buying the lie of others, saying that, oh, I'm so happy, I got a boyfriend, or I got two boyfriends, or two girlfriends, or I don't going to attach myself to this and that, or I don't going to work for it. Look at me, I'm 22 and I'm a millionaire because I did this and that. And everybody want to be the same. And everybody want, especially the ladies, they all want to have surgery. They want to all look the same. Big lips like a fish, you know, big butt, big breast. I mean, you got beautiful girls that by the time they turn 25, they look like monsters with all the surgeries. I would say it's the Michael Jackson syndrome. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But all I'm telling you is that that jeopardizes future retirement for future generations, because if nobody works, how that Social Security fund going to get money and get funded? It's impossible, you know. So I'm going to cut this here. I'm going to take you this trail. This is kind of getting longer than what I thought was going to be, and I don't want this video to last forever. So I'm going to come back when I'm at the Timacuan Park or the Timacuan village or all that, okay? I'll be right back. I just want to bring you back because look how stiff this is. I mean, probably the phone don't do any justice to it, but this is pretty stiff here. Stiff for Florida. You gotta remember, we don't have no mountains or hills in Florida, but look at this. For us, this is awesome. You know, this is unbelievable. Anyway, I'll bring you back as soon as I get to the spot that I want to show it to you, okay? Look at this, more hills. But I find people walking the opposite way to me. I think I'm the one. I'm going the wrong way. I was supposed to start on the other side and come this way. But just to show you this hilly trail, it's unbelievable. Hey, but every now and then they have a little bench. You can stop and take a break. I haven't been here in probably over 2 decades. And I don't remember being this long the trail. I guess it's because now I'm 2 decades older. So I feel it. Look, see, now we're going downhill. That's pretty cool. But I used to live like 10 minutes from here. I came a couple of times here with my wife and my kids. And I remember bringing my mother here, which at the time, she was probably in her 80s. My goodness, and she walked all this with us like it was no big deal. You know, that was crazy. I tell you the resilience of those people that grew up in early 1900s. You know, this area is closed. So let's go this way. But yeah, I mean, I'm 65. I'm walking this side. This is not a big deal to me. And I see some of the people younger than me that's having a hard time in the 30s and 40s walking through these trails. So I feel glad that I grew up in a time where there was no television almost. There was no cable. There was no cell phones. And the only way for you to entertain yourself is to go out and play. Go outside and play with your neighbors. You know, I grew up in the country. I would go in the creeks and the river and swim. I remember in the summers when there was no school, we'd be in the water already in the river by 10 in the morning, and by the time I come back home, it'd be already dark. I mean, and we eat whatever fruits in the forest or in the countryside. We go and get some ripe banana, some oranges, and we got some freshwater crab, and we got a pot that we hid in the bushes, and we boil water from the river itself, and we catch the freshwater crabs, and we just boil them there and eat them right there on the spot. And that's how we spend the whole summer almost. You know, we ride our bikes there, go swim all day, go eat what the nature provided for us. And we were healthy kids. I don't remember going to the doctor during my whole time, from the time I remember until I was 20 and joined the Navy. I don't remember going to see the doctor more than 2 or 3 times. And one of them was because I broke my arm. You know, but that was the days, man. Those were the days. And my parents grew up in rougher days. And like I said, my mom at 80, she would walk through these trails like it was no big deal, you know. And thanks God I can still do it. But I tell you what, I got a member of the family that is, I don't want to say who, but this person is in the early 30s, and she won't be able to go through this. Anyway, this is getting long. I don't want to keep babbling about it because I want to make sure I show you this spot. Let me stop it right here for now. Look at this nice little bridge. It looks like they built it not too long ago. But look at this. It looks like we are in the middle of nowhere. And even to a certain extent we are not. I'm not walking distance from the parking lot. And once I get in my car, I'm less than maybe 15 minutes from downtown, you know. So, but this is beautiful. Just want to show you this area. This is nice. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I'll be right back. Okay, we get into the area that I want to show you. And I guess at one time this was a fort. Spaniard fort, I believe. I'm going to show you the different signs and you guys can pause it and read about it. This is building a village in the wilderness. Look at that. Tell you the story. This is called the Huguenot colonist. There's more people coming. There's the water. That's the river right there. I'm going to take you there. Let me get the sign here. Oh, I can get the sign on the way out. Look at that. Ain't that beautiful? Oh, some kind of oven. But they don't have a sign specifically for this. Looks like kind of oven. Yeah. Kind of oven because you don't have like an exit. I can see like a chimney. Got the entrance, nice. Got the crest. French colonies. I saw that was Spaniard. They were French colonies. So this was like a French village, and they were surrendered by Timacuan indigenous Native Americans from the northeast of Florida. You can read on that, you can pause it. So it's kind of, you need to replace it a little bit. I'm not sure if you'll be able to read all that. But you can tell the fort the way it was originally, and the river with the canoes. There's Survival and Revenge. You guys can post that and read. French retake. So what's this up here? Got the cannons there. One of the cannon. French cannons. And there's another one there, another cannon there. Another cannon there. I think you can go to the outer walls, because I know I've been there before, but it's been so long. Let's see if you go this way. On the walls. These are the walls. See the walls? And as any fort is kind of surrounded by little water. Now I imagine that back then, maybe they have alligators in that canal. But now you can see houses in the other side of the river. Hope I don't fall down here. But that's the outside. You see, you can have a fishing pier there. I have gone through all this in my boat. In fact, where you see those white buildings back there, let me see if I can. Yeah, that's what I normally, that area, put my boat in the water. But you can tell, this is not, you can tell somebody there. That's a person, oh my God. Like a little floating boat. He's living there. That's what it looks like. But see, that's what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, that people nowadays, this guy might have that need for that. I don't know. But not everybody does. And everybody, like I said, nowadays the young people take as much of honor being having these mental diseases, and everybody, and they blame everybody for their misfortune. But part of that problem is because of the internet. The internet, the social media. We didn't have that when we grew up. We have nobody to compare ourselves but with our next neighbor. And we either want to be like them or we want to be better than them. You know, we always try to be better, you know. We didn't just sit down and meditate on our misfortune. I grew up very poor, you know. My parents, my mother have an 8th grade education, and my father have a 6th grade education. They worked very hard for us, and the only thing I knew was I appreciate everything they did for me, but I knew I didn't want to be like them. I didn't want to grow my kids, raise my kids like they raised us. I want to give my kids a better future, and that's what I worked so hard. I never look back. But these kids nowadays, they compare themselves with everybody in the world through social media. And then that's why they start talking about their problems, their mental problems, and now the next kid listen to that and they go, oh, I guess it's okay for me to talk about it. And it's okay to talk about it, but the problem is all the French, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. The problem is that if you want to talk about it, talk with some professional, but don't, now everybody's like, oh yeah, something happened to me, I must be traumatized. I mean, it's my parents' fault, it's my teacher's fault, it's the government's fault, it's the president or the governor or everybody's fault. Nobody want to have personal accountability. I see a glimpse of hope in some of the new kids. Some of them are very, some of them got their stuff together and they try to achieve greater things. But for the most part, it's an epidemic of homeless people, most of them by choice. Most of them because they blame everybody else for this misfortune and they don't try to make better, you know. And I understand it's hard. I got 3 kids, I'm going through all kind of situations and trying to get themselves established in society, and they're already in their 30s. You know, my 38 years old had to go back to school for nursing. So by the time he started being a junior nurse, he'd be 40 years old. So I understand that, but one thing I'm so proud of him is that he don't give up. One thing doesn't work, let's try the next one. My youngest son the same way. He's in real estate and in computers and all kind of things, and once he don't give up. I know he tell me that I will never come back home to you guys to live with you guys. No, because he has his own pride, and that's good. But not everybody's like that, and unfortunately, like I said, if we don't have new workers putting money into retirement accounts, and everything gonna collapse. Everything, society itself is collapsing because of it. Anyway, give me one moment here. So anyway, tell me what I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm right. Tell me what could be the solution to this. Once again, I brought you to Timacuan, historical site where the French have a little, the French have a little colony. Didn't last long. We were overtaken. But I'm going to sign off here because I got to go back to my truck. I got to get home. I got a lot of things to do. But like I said, to me, my YouTube videos and my YouTube channel, even for most people, have been a failure in comparison of likes, subscribers, and all that. For me, is a success because look where I am. And if it won't be for this channel, I'll probably be home right now doing nothing or watching some stupid shows that's not going to help me in anything. So for all those that are watching my videos, thank you. Thank you for hitting that like button. I hope more people subscribe. Until next time, I already have the place for the next time, and it's another historical site. All right, see you later. I know already signed up, but I do have to show you this area here. It's part of the same place, the Timacuan French village. But you got this little pier there, and I'll show you from the beginning, and it's nice. And I have to show you this. Bear with me. Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
All right. So, yeah, I got some other people here, and this is magnificent. Another lady there taking selfies, kind of like me. And this is beautiful. So anyway, let me show you the other end where I was at a few minutes ago. That's where I came from. Remember? Where they go, guy, this is their sailboat. Look at this here. This is beautiful. We are going now. This is the St. John's River. And just for historical thing, the St. John's River is the only river. It's the only river in North America that flows to the north. Instead of going down, it goes up. That's what part of the river, including this area, is salt water. That's why you sometimes see dolphins jumping in the river because it's salt water. Part of it is salt water. Okay, and so the ocean comes into the river instead of the river going into the ocean. Kind of crazy, but that's the way it is. Now that's another historical fact for you guys. So anyway, see you next time.